Alright, we are live. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Where last time we were trying to fix our aluminum production in advance of the turbo motor factory, and if we look at these boxes, which are either empty or nearly empty, it has not worked. So that's unfortunate, and I would imagine with the imminent shortage of bauxite, we are about to have some problems. So these belts are currently full, but they're about to run out. Yep. So now we have nowhere near enough bauxite heading into the machines, and they're probably going to be turning off soon. And once that happens, assuming that we don't have a bauxite train incoming immediately, which we don't, so these are going to start running low on bauxite. And that's going to take some time, but it will eventually happen. And then they'll start filling up with water, or backfilling with water even more than they are currently, and then the whole system will explode. So that is going to be fun. And apparently we still don't have another bauxite train incoming. So I wonder what's happened to them. They're probably waiting to fill up all the way at the other station. That's probably it. Alright, so everything is empty except for this one, which is nearly empty. So that is gonna be a bit rough. Now if we head up, it's probably already... Yep, already out of bauxite. And yeah, we can see now that these water pipes are filling up dramatically. And that is possibly going to... Is that going to backlog all the way up here, like, immediately? No. Okay, so these are also short on alumina solution, which will delay more water getting produced. But when we next get a shipment of bauxite, it's all going to restart temporarily, put more alumina solution into the system, and then break more permanently. And so we can see over here that they are both just waiting in this station, and they have been for a very long time. Because if we head on over, not full of bauxite. Alright, so that train has just... What are you doing? Are you supposed to be here? Yes, you are. Did you deliver bauxite though? Why are you leaving full? Alright, what the heck? There's plenty of bauxite in here. And yet you are staying here. Why, though? So you could easily fill up and leave if you wanted to. But this center one isn't filling up at all. Alright, well that is very confusing. I guess I guess we just have to set that back to that. I did that change, right? I might have clicked out of it. Save. Save changes. You're not stuck. That block signal is green. So why? Why are you still in here? Turn off and back on. Hello? Turn off. Get in. Is it just completely... What is going on? It can't stop docking for some reason. Okay, why on earth? So that center one is still trying to fill up. All the rest of these are working, but this one is not. So it's still trying to dock, despite the fact that it can't. So we have to cancel docking. And then send it off again. That is super weird. That is incredibly weird. And that should only be a problem if this doesn't work properly. So if we have enough bauxite filling in here, then it would be fine. So this one is just going to fill up instantly because all this stuff is full. Alright, so there we go. And you're off. Alright, so the good news is that we should be fine now. And we aren't going to be draining so much from the center because we've distributed it out better. So hopefully our 2 belts each should be enough to transport between there to there. And then it's just going to be a question of whether the delay between the 2 trains is good enough. It probably is fine. Alright, so yeah, this is already completely full. And then these are still filling up, but will be there pretty soon. And there's plenty of bauxite to keep it all happy. Alright, this one took the longest to fill up for some reason. Don't know why, but it doesn't really matter. Important thing is we are now sending huge train loads of bauxite over there. And that should be able to manage it. We definitely can't sustain this level of bauxite output consistently. We just don't have that much in the mines. But we can probably get somewhere close to it at least. And now that it's not all being fixated on just one thing, it should be a lot better. Alright, aluminum bauxite train 2 is returning with a good couple hundred bauxite left in each car. That's weird. Let's hop on this train and take over. It shouldn't have already filled up. Although I guess we sent 2 full train loads, so maybe it did completely fill up. Who knows? Alright, yeah, it's looking pretty good. I picked up a single bauxite. You go in there. I don't know which of these boxes is going to be least full. So we'll just pick one at semi-random. Alright, so hopefully that deadlock was the only thing causing the bauxite shortage. And we can get this all going again. We might need to drain out water once more. So yeah, these are definitely looking good. So let's... Oh wait, these are the ones with external water sources, so we don't need to worry about them. It's these ones which we want to take out a decent chunk of water from to make sure that it doesn't all back up and get stuck. So there we go. And there we go. That third one is farthest from the pipe and it's not filling up very quickly. So let's do the same thing over here. Just grab out a couple hundred water. Okay, that's one of the ones which we don't need to worry about because it's an external pipe. Alright. So there definitely shouldn't be spare water now. So that should have sorted it all out. Alright, so that is that. Aluminum production should be going pretty strong now. There's going to be a bit of a delay until we get back to these ones. Because this is all just starting to work. So much aluminum scrap. Alright, and then the alumina solution itself might be backing up a little bit, but it doesn't look like it. So we should be in the clear now, I think. Again, unless there is some actual shortage of bauxite, which I guess we should figure out, because that would be like the one way in which things go very, very wrong. So let's figure out how much bauxite we are using currently. We have 600 there. We have 480 there, so that's 1,080. And these are, I believe, both max speed, so 1,080 plus 780 times 2 is 2,640. So, 2,640, that's a lot of bauxite. So, now we're going to have to go over to the various nodes and figure out if we are outputting that much. So first we just hop over here. And is one of these... No, it's just right past the high-speed connectors. So let's get over to this way. And I'm definitely not going to be able to make that jump with the hover pack, but the jetpack should be able to do it very easily. Rocket fuel is so cool. Alright, so now we're here. And we have significant stores of bauxite here as well, which is nice. How much is it? these are 3 Mark V belts. And this is 260, 260, 520, 260, 260. So that's going to be 260 times 3. Or no, 260 times 6, rather. Which is 1560. Alright, so 1560 is not the amount we need, but this also isn't the only bauxite source we have. We've also got that one over there, which looks to be a single pure node. Plus 780 is 2340, so what was the other one that we had? It was minus 600 plus 480, so 1080 minus 780 times 2 is negative 300. So we are short on bauxite still. So let's see where we can find some extra. They're just like these random individual nodes, just like around various places. I guess we can belt some of those over to here. So if we take those over to the bauxite source over there, we should be able to get another couple hundred. And that should fully resolve that problem. So we head west. I don't know how far west we need to go. We've got that normal node is the closest to where we're going. So just a little bit past the hub. We can leave these two for later, I guess. I've unlocked minor Mark IIIs, right? Yes, but they require turbo motors, so I can't actually place them. So that's awkward. But I don't know, maybe we can set this up so that we manual craft some more, I guess. Oh, don't get hit by a train. Just gonna fly over that. So we need literally one more turbo motor. And I'm pretty sure I set this machine up to make them. Yes, I did. And do we have spares? No, we do not. So let's fill you up with some rubber and wait 12.8 seconds and then get turbo motors with which we can place another minor Mark III. Alright, yeah, they're going to be brought out to there. Alright, we have those now. And that's the only thing we need to be able to place that. So we should be able to head out. And it should be like just south of, just beneath us here. So let's drop down, swap to jetpack, and catch our landing. And it's this way. Alright, so we head over here. Bauxite, bauxite, bauxite. Where are you? Did I overshoot it? Oh, I way overshot it. Okay. It was real close to me, apparently. Oh, here it is. Okay, I was going to say, was it in a cave or something? Nope, I'm just blind. Alright. creature, please move. There we go, Miner Mark III on a normal node. Max overclocked is 600 bauxite. So we have that. Just gotta connect you up. Is this a coal generator? This is a coal generator of all things. Which is absolutely not necessary. But we don't need to tear it down yet. Not like we're short on coal at the moment. So we're just going to ignore that. And let's bring some conveyor belts all the way over here. And it shouldn't be that far, but it's also not exactly right around the corner. Alright, so we can use the compass to keep track of it for us. Still this way. So we're headed to a train station and a drone hub, so there are markers on it. How close are we? We are pretty close. Alright, so we just gotta get through all this stuff. And alright. Bamboo forest is the worst. But now at least we're up on a nice rock. So we keep on going. And how? Okay, there's a platform. So we get up here. And this is the drone station I set up for the other one, which isn't going to be useful to me because of how slow drones are. Okay, also I've lost my belt. There it is. It's over here. Very hard to see anything at all in this terrain. Alright, so if we take that out, that will prevent the conveyor belt from being too steep, and we can bring it up here. Alright, so now this just comes along. And then we skip over to this platform. And now we just have to get it up onto where we're going, which is the train station, high up in the sky. So this comes over this way. And let's see, let's just go up there and then work down. That's normally an easier way of doing it in terms of getting the exact location that we want it to be. So up we go. Jetpack does make this relatively easy to do, as opposed to having to take a ladder or something, which would take absolutely forever. Alright, we're up here. What nonsense is this? You are splitting it evenly-ish among the 5. Oh, and you're using the 1 to 10 set. Okay, this is actually very convenient. Well, okay, it's not actually that convenient, but it's a little bit convenient. So what we can do is... what am I thinking? We take this out, we just turn that around so it goes directly into those. And then we put the other one into those. So yeah, this is using the... Why is it doing this? Yeah, actually, what on earth is the point of all that? So you're splitting it into two, and then into... Oh, it's because it's a max speed belt, right? So it's a max speed belt, which means that it can't handle 1 to 5 splitter normally, so we have to do this cursed 1 to 10 thing instead, and then merge them up again. Alright, but that's fine. So all we need to do is just... Yeah, so this isn't going to be perfect, but I don't think it needs to be perfect. It should be able to handle it either way. So we have you going like that. And then we have another one here. Okay, yeah, so we were going to have to take that out so that this at least outputs the full 780, even though it won't be balanced properly. So this then connects over to there. And we just bring this down. Alright, and we're out of power range, so we swap back to the jetpack. And we just got to bring this down all the way. And then put our belt in. And this won't be perfectly evenly balanced output for a number of reasons, but it ultimately shouldn't matter as long as the numbers are correct. It should mostly work its way back to normal. There we go, and in there. Alright, so that is another 600 bauxite into this system, which we might need an additional train for if this is backing up. Or no, it's probably just stopped because there was a train in the station. That's probably it. Alright, so up we go. Alright, and here we are. Swap back to hover pack now that we're up here. And it all looks pretty good. And again, I don't think we want that, because it being full throughput is more important than it being perfectly balanced. So that's fine. Alright. Do we want to work this out properly? No, we would need to balance between these two belts and then send them into this whole system here. And then it would work correctly. But even then it's kind of sketch. Nah, we should be fine. It should be fine as is. So we are getting 600 plus 780 input into these, which hopefully will fill it up better than it currently is. And that should, if my math was correct, we should now have more bauxite than we need by a small amount. But if 300 a minute is considered a small amount, which on the scales we're working at is the case, which is hilarious, then yeah, we have a bit more bauxite than we need, which means that the whole system should just fill up. Now let's head back over to make sure nothing is broken by the aluminum factory in the meantime. And then, finally, we can go over and start dealing with the turbo motors themselves. Or, actually, no. First we have to check on the fused frames to make sure they're working. Because pretty sure that's one of the inputs for this. Alright, so we're going to get over here. And I see a lot of green. So it hasn't completely fallen apart in the meantime. But that doesn't mean it's going well. Does not mean that it's going well. Alright, so we slide jump on over. And there is a train in there unloading at the moment. And it didn't even need to fully unload, because we are apparently just absolutely doing good by bauxite. Alright, so that's a very good sign. And this is doing the thing where it's all awkward and unbalanced, but it's mostly awkward and unbalanced in a somewhat fair way, so that we're not completely stressing one of the train cars more than the others, which was the problem that we fixed last time. And so this is going along. And we don't have a massive water surplus, which is good. This one has a bit, but there's still plenty of room for more. Alright, I think the aluminum production we have currently should be totally operational. So now we need to worry about all this. So this line is stopped, but I believe it is being sunk up here, so that's not going to cause any problems. Yes, so why have you stopped then? Are you just going into a single train car which is full or something? Alright, so we go over here. And we have 2 lines of aluminum which are still running and 1 which is not. Alright, so it looks like, yeah, I mean, it looks like we're just mostly full on aluminum. And once this one fills up, which should be pretty soon, we will be actually full on aluminum. Which is a bit suspicious, because we have a number of places that use this. And should be, yeah, it's all stopped now. And it's backlogging as far back as it'll go. Is that an aluminum train coming in? It looks empty while it's arriving, so it probably is. And this is for the RCUs. So that's going to take up a whole lot of aluminum. And that also means the RCUs are probably not functional. Which is a problem, because those are one of the things that we're using for this, right? Pressure conversion cube is fused frames and radio control units. Yeah, so we're gonna need to investigate that. But for now, this does seem to be working. It's successfully filled up a train with aluminum ingots. Oh, right. It's empty because that's just how the train system works. We are going to follow this to make sure. Can I not be... Oh, I lost it. No. Please. I wanted to hitch a ride on the train. It would have been so cool. Oh, it's literally right here. I forgot that it was this close. Okay. That's fine. So, before this arrived, how is this? Totally fine. I mean, not totally fine. It's definitely one of those ones which does the whole unbalanced output thing. But, I mean, this is going to last a long time. And if we hop up here, I'm seeing green lights. Oh, yellow lights up here. Alright. Computer... Oh, did I forget to power on the sink? I forgot to power on the sink. Of course I did. Alright. Sink is powered on. And RCUs are going again. But if that's what this looks like, then we should be fine. Like, I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones where we have everything intermediate with intermediate sinks. Yeah, this might have actually been the first one we did that for. Which means that if it's been running this fine the whole time, it shouldn't have any problems. And that's one of the huge advantages of the intermediate sinks, is that they prevent issues like this from potentially breaking things. Although it is going to mean that this whole factory is backlogged now, but again, not really a big deal. So, radio control units now are getting shoveled into the awesome sink at 60 a minute. Alright, so that is, I mean, this is exactly what you would want a factory to look like when you come back to check in on it after a while. Just a minor issue that wasn't breaking anything, but other than that, verified functional. And yeah, so the train has emptied out most of its cars, but this first one is going to stay full for a while. And is that actually fine? I might want to just distribute this a bit more. Yeah, let's just give me the right one. Give me that one. Bring you up here. Alright, so it's a very minor thing, but now that one will drain more quickly, which will make this slightly more balanced. I mean, not by a huge amount, but you know, it'll help a little bit. And now probably this one would be the one that takes the longest, but yeah, again, not really a problem. Alright. So, with that done, these are functional. So the next thing I want to check on are the fused frames. Gotta make sure that that's working. And if the fused frames are working just fine, then that should be everything we need to get started on our new factory. Alright. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Alright, just had to check something real quick. Alright, so we're gonna slide jump on over this way, where I'm pretty sure the fuse frame factory is. It'd be real embarrassing if it's back that way. So we just keep on going. And We'll get there eventually. It's very close to the supercomputer factory that I was working on this whole time. So I think it's that sort of small-ish one up on the left, although I could be wrong about that. Oh yeah, I'm definitely wrong. That's something else. I don't actually know what that is. Let's investigate. It's always good to remember what factories are where. And this one is very big and like looming out over all of that stuff. What are you? Oh, you're heavy modular frames and encased industrial beams as well. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, you look fine. You're not perfect, though, but it doesn't really matter. So you don't have enough steel pipes. Which definitely shouldn't be an issue here. That's 24... times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, is this conveyor Mark II? Oh yeah, it is. Occasionally there's a gap. Alright, let's see why that is. This set of pipes comes mainly from back here, and not enough steel. Alright, that's easy enough. Of course, it's just at these last couple. Alright, so now we fly back this way. And why do we not have enough steel? It looks like a lack of coal. No, actually here it's a lack of iron. Right, so these, despite being right next to each other, are attached to different belts, so they have different characteristics. And over here there's not enough iron. Now that's not just a belt thing. The belts are correct. It's back here. And it's got to be a lack of iron ore, I guess. Although all those are showing at 100%. Oh, this one is as well. Oh, is it just not balanced correctly? It might just not be balanced correctly. I don't know. This is not exactly what I intend to be doing today. Okay, there's definitely enough iron ore going in. I think the problem is that the iron ingots aren't properly balanced coming out. So, yeah, okay, I see. I mean, theoretically that shouldn't matter, though. Like, there should just be enough iron coming out here that it would never make a difference. Wait. So this line wraps around to here and then goes this way. Oh, is something back here getting blocked off? No. Is something back here getting blocked off? Yes, this one. But you're set to medium priority right, so you should never be blocked off. You should never be blocked off as long as this isn't an issue. And yet you maybe are, although you are showing at 100%, so maybe not. Alright, so the mystery becomes then, if all of the iron is producing at 100% and has had more than enough time that it should have balanced by now, why hasn't it balanced by now? Like, theoretically, that should be fine. I don't know. We're not going to worry about it. It's not exactly critical to our current thing. We need to find the fused frames and check on them. Alright, so this is the supercomputer factory. You can tell because it goes both above and below the main train level. And it is looking great. A whole lot of greens. Why are you blue? Why are you blue? I'm just gonna not worry about that, and I assume I know what I was doing with that. Because if I take that out, it very well might turn out to be important, and then it could cause all sorts of problems. So I'm just not going to do that. We're going to assume that when I put that in there, I knew what I was doing. Alright, so this currently has plenty of aluminum. And it's definitely going through. I do see some yellows. Why are some of these guys yellow? It's got to be because of not enough aluminum casings. Although how exactly they ended up with not enough aluminum casings, maybe this just started working recently. The nitrogen looks fine. It's full. The heavy modular frames look fine. Alright, yeah, I'm just going to assume that this is working. Although, like, all these are at 80-some percent. Let's see, aluminum casings. Okay, so these are 40 outputs per minute. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's 18 times 40 is 720. Plus 30 is 750. Alright, that makes sense. And then these are 62.5, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 62.5 times 12 is 750. So it should be the right number. And there should be a little bit of slack on the belts as well, so that should be fine. Not that they need them, really, but yeah, so it's just a matter of the production having to warm up and calculate at the full rate, and we've got plenty of those. Alright, so if fuse frames are working and radio control units are working, then we just need to get started on our new factory. So we can just go over here, I guess. There's plenty of space over this way. And let's just pick a random spot. Go to train mode. So we drag out some foundations there. And then a rail blueprint. Now we connect the rail blueprint up to that, and we make it a proper intersection, because why not? Alright, so now we've got this. We need a block signal going out and a path signal going in. And then that needs to be a path signal, and that needs to be a path signal. Alright, now everything is working except for this block signal, which just points you to the void, which we'll fix soon enough. So in the meantime, let's run this a little bit further away, and then start setting up our station. Actually, we're going to need nitrogen. We're going to need nitrogen. There's some down there. I don't want to build this too far away from the center, so we're going to have to set up a nitrogen source for this, which I think we're not going to have in the center by the hub where we've been doing everything else, just so that we can make things a little bit less awful and cramped. Alright, so we get a train station, and it doesn't need to be that far back. No, it probably does actually. What we need to do is take this, have it go that way, and then be straight. So that is the output. So all of our stations need to be lined up based on that, which is something like this. And that is able to barely merge in at the last second, and the rest of them will be able to merge in easily. So what is this? This is going to be turbo motor nitrogen, and we expand it out even more, and we actually put foundations underneath it. Oh, and let's also fill up our inventory with wire, because this whole setup takes a billion wire to place all the train stations. So we're just going to need that, so grab it in advance so that the dimensional depot can start refilling. Alright, so then we get more stations. Next station is going to be there, and this is going to be turbo motor steel. Alright, so we grab another one, and we go a little bit further over, and we pop it in. We need to drag the railway across so that we have power, among other things, so that we can fly. Wait, we don't even bring in steel. What am I doing? This is coal. This is not turbo. Turbo motor iron. So we have coal, we have iron. We're going to need copper and caterium and aluminum. Not the simplest factory that I've ever built, that's for sure. Also, by far not the worst, though, because we're importing so much stuff. It'd be an absolute nightmare if we were having to make the radio control units and fuse frames on hand. Alright, so this is turbo motor copper. And we get another one. which I hope we're leaving enough space here. It's probably like just barely enough. And this is turbo motor Caterium. And we don't even need that much of these. We might be able to drone them in too, but yeah, probably not. So we have those. Actually, let's do the math here. 160 copper ingots. The pure copper recipe is, I don't know why I searched pure, is insanely efficient. And even the pure Caterium ingot recipe is very efficient. It's 2 to 1. So we need like genuinely like 80 to 100 of each. Yeah, okay. We are just going to drone those in. They do not need to do that. That's going to save us a ton of space and also take like 2 or 3 trains off of the rail network, which is always good. At the price of some rocket fuel. And then the aluminum, 225 is going to be worth train stationing in. Alright, so then that goes in, and this is turbo motor aluminum. Alright, so now we have all of these. We just need to make that go a little bit further and then start connecting these guys in like that. And alright, can you just connect in like that? Yes, you can. Very nice. Alright. How is wire doing? Very slow. Very slow, but hopefully we have close to enough at least. And there's still time for it to fill up. Because I think each station, each platform needs like 400 wire or something ridiculous. So we're going to be burning through a lot of wire here. And also a lot of concrete, but we have like a billion dimensional depots set up for that, so it's not a problem. Alright, so this just keeps going back. And, alright. That should be the concrete for at least the beginning. We might need additional rows. Alright. Oh, it's only 100 per platform, but that's still a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it turns out this is exactly the right amount of concrete. So we're going to need 1 or 2 more rows for the train tracks. Alright, so then the iron, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The coal is 1, 2, 3, that didn't place, 3, 4, 5, and then go swap to fluid freight for the nitrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright. So that is all of that in. Now we just need to set up the train station, or the tracks to go into the station. So this line goes along like that. And the railway has to rotate around and go that way. and go even further that way. And then a little bit further that way so that I can go down that way. So that just lines up there. And now this goes along. Alright. Next up, signals. Signals for this are pretty simple. We just have each station as a separate block so that they can all be filled individually. And then the inputs and the outputs are all one block, so only one train can enter or leave at a time. Oh, we need to actually connect all this stuff up. Alright. How do you go in like that? And like that. And there. And oh, this last one might be a bit tough. Alright, we managed it though. And now the block signals all go in. And there we go. Alright. So now we get a block signal there. So that the trains can fill in this region if they're waiting and they don't have to back up to the intersection. And then we have a block signal there just for fun. Alright, what is your problem, huh? So your problem is that you think there's a way of getting from there to here. Alright, if you just take that signal out and move you just ever so slightly up there, then we're all good. And this might be too short of a block. Yeah, that's probably too short of a block, so I think we just have to not have that signal at all. Which is a tad annoying, because it means that trains won't be able to get up to this intersection. Or, no, what does it mean? It means one train will be able to get up to this intersection, but the next one will have to wait in the station. Which is it's probably fine, honestly. It's probably not a problem. Alright. So, now we get the trains in. Transport, electric locomotive. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have freight cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. So the nitrogen is going to have to wait for a bit because we don't have any setup for that. The coal, we're going to call it turbomotor coal and go to coal distributor and turbomotor coal. And while you're here, wait to be fully unloaded and wait for 0 seconds. And we save. And you can just start doing that now. Turbomotor iron. We're going to give you your name. Edit your time table. Go to iron distributor. Turbomotor iron. Stay here until you are empty and then go for another trip. And off you go. And this is aluminum. Turbo motor aluminum. Alright, so you are going to have to go to there and there. Wait here until you're fully unloaded. And off you go. All right. So, those should all be heading off now. And we may have caused a bit of a traffic slowdown by sending all 4 of them out at once, but that's not an issue. Okay, so what we do need to do is you need to creep forward a little bit so that you're not back past this. We need to make sure that this section is clear, and it looks like we've managed that now. Alright, so now we need to set up nitrogen, copper, and caterium. So the copper and the caterium, we just have to add drone outputs to our existing setup. The nitrogen we're going to have to actually go and get. So we head down there. It's got 1 billion pure nodes, so that should be fine. So we're just gonna head off and gonna have to set up a train station for that. Alright, so we just gotta slide jump along until we get there. Right, how much nitrogen do we end up needing? Like 1 billion, right? I don't think I wrote it down, but it's 225 packaged nitrogen, which I think is like 4-to-1, so it's like 900 regular nitrogen or something like that, which is a lot, but this setup should be capable of handling it. Alright, it's just a little bit past this, which is SC Caterium source. Oh, I forgot we even did that. Yeah, the supercomputer Caterium has its own separate thing because I didn't want to send it through all the rest of the stuff. Alright, that's going to be the nitrogen down there. You can see it from space, basically. So we just want to get lined up as good as possible. And then we prepare our intersection. So we get a 3x3 and then a 2-way rail blueprint. And then we just send these out like so. That's a bit close, but it's fine. Alright, now we get a path signal going in, block signal going out, and you get to be a path signal, and you get to be a path signal. Alright, so now we just have to put the station in, which we're just going to try to build it right here in front of this, because we only need 1 station. So it lines up to there. I'm going to send it back a little bit so that the other railway can wrap around. And then this is going to have to go back a bit. I don't know if it needs to go back a full 10. It probably does, actually. And then we get our fluid freights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. So that is that. Now we drop down. We do have power lines in the vicinity. I wonder if I can connect to them from all the way up here. Obviously not. Alright, so we bring this out. And we need to send it out a little bit more. So we need space for this to wrap around. Like that. There we go. Alright, so we just need this to get a bit around like that. And then come back to like here. And then go in. Alright, so that now you get your own little signal, which probably isn't necessary since there's probably only ever going to be one train in here, but it's always good practice to have those just in case. Alright, so actually we need to drop down and figure out how much we need to get all this set up. So let's get the train ladder blueprint in. Set it to blueprint mode. And now we can start building this down. So we grab power line off, pop it in somewhere probably not in the way, and then we just start connecting it down this. So we can use this to basically be able to hover back up and down, and also bring power with us so that we don't have to head over there. Oh, alright. Have to remember to actually connect the power lines across, otherwise it doesn't bring power down. There we go. So we just keep going. Down we go. And now we connect these up. Alright, this is pretty much there. I mean, I guess we'll go one more down. But we do need to leave vertical space for the machines. Alright, so this should be plenty. So now we get a resource well pressurizer. And we power it on. Alright, 2100 meters cubed per minute at maximum speed. That is almost 3 full pipes. So now we just get an extractor on everything. So There we go. Alright, so we haven't missed any. So now we just have to figure out how much is in each. It's 300 each. So those two are going to be 600. Those two are going to be another 600. So that's 1200. Those two are another 600 for 1800. And that's an additional 300 for the extra spare. Alright, so now we have our pipes. We just pop junctions on them. And let's bring that wall a little bit further down. And start putting these pipes onto the wall. And in no particular order, they can just go on wherever there's room. This one is going to need to get closer before it can go in. Alright, so then let's start dragging them up. It's going to be a bit tricky to do because they're going to keep wanting to snap into each other. But as long as we don't drag them too close like that, it should be fine. Alright, so just keep going. And there are 4 pipes and 5 train cars, so I think we're just gonna not quite give 1 pipe per 1 train car, but we're gonna have that sort of system, but then have them be connected up so that the middle train car can get some as well. Alright. Making progress. Up we go. It's funny how massive the difference is between how far I'm dragging these is sort of wound up to be. This one is incredibly short. Whereas the other ones are all sort of close together. Alright. Now we're basically there. So, we just need to get this figured out. So, we want like... Okay, so what we want is a pipe which drags along and connects all of them up so that none of them is going to get shorted or anything. So that is going to go across like that, and it's not straight. It's not straight. You go in a tick more like that. Alright, so now it's straight. And we can put pipeline junctions into all of these. And done. Then we want 1, 2, skip the middle one, I think, 3 and 4. And you get floor holes, which are going to go into the pipes. And then in no particular order again, the pipes are going to go up and snap in. Alright, I think we want to extend that floor a little bit so that these pipes can... No, actually, that's not what we want. We want these pipes to go up over here, because that's the side that they're on. Alright, so that one attaches in there. This one goes a little bit forwards. And this one has the weird pipeline bug. So let's replace it. And it still has the bug. Replace it again. Alright, still has the bug. We are going to place that one first. Alright, let's just remove the floor hole entirely. Put it back in. Have that go in there. Alright. Please, floor hole, just work. No, it's absolutely refusing to cooperate. Maybe if I look at it from directly above, it'll work? No? Alright, maybe I will fill in that. And then it won't be as confused. There we go. We got there eventually. Alright, so now these are all filling up. And then I just have to name the station. We are going to call this nitrogen source. As good a name as any. Nice and descriptive. And if we eventually in the future will have more nitrogen sources, we might have to rethink the name, but for now this should be perfectly adequate. And speaking of perfectly adequate, we have nitrogen filling all that up. Alright, so now when we go back to the turbo motor factory, we can attach that in, and it'll all be good to go. We're just going to have to go back to that train we built over there and give it the name of nitrogen source so that it will go there. So now we just have to return to the hub, where we have to get our copper and caterium set up to have an optional drone output. And we also are going to need to do the same for fuse frames and radio control units. So a lot of that sort of thing is going to have to happen. One of the downsides to doing this sort of thing is that you have to spend a lot of time just worrying about transporting resources around into various places rather than just getting stuck in building factories right from the get-go. Which, I don't know. I mean, it's ultimately not that bad. And I also spent, in one of my previous worlds, I didn't do really any transportation at all. And I spent like a significant amount of effort trying to figure out where resource nodes were that I could grab that were convenient. So this is definitely much better than that. Alright, so we are back at the hub. So iron we don't need to worry about. Coal we don't need to worry about. Those are both getting transported in via train. And coal supply is actually not looking incredible. Although that might just be a consequence of this being hilariously slow. Looks like we have direct input as well, which is funny. Yeah, so let's make sure that coal goes fast enough by dragging all of this stuff in. And is iron having the same problem? I can't tell with iron. It looks fine. It looks fine. And let's see, these sides are actually relatively empty. So it's probably okay. It could be upgraded to Mark V belts, but I'm not sure that it needs to be. Alright, so we go past that. We go past the limestone, which it's been ages since I used limestone for anything. I assume... I mean, it's definitely going somewhere. A lot of it is going somewhere. But apparently we have enough. So moving on. We've got this water system, which I technically think I use somewhere. But it's not exactly a big deal, and I haven't used it in ages. Then we have the oil, which is totally filled. Yeah, everything there is maxed out, so we've got plenty of crude oil. And now we get back to the Caterium. Alright, Caterium. You are looking fine. So let's get a wall up to there, and build a quick floor up here to put a drone port on. And I think it's going to be 2 drone ports, actually, right? Because one has to bring in the fuel. Although we could... No, we can just drag in the fuel from over there. That should be fine. Alright, so drone port in. This is going to be Caterium source. It is going to be powered on like so. And is this lined up correctly? No, it isn't. Alright, that's fine. We can fix that. So that has to just go out like that. That goes in there. And put in the belt. That comes down. And feeds along like so. And let's make sure that those are all Mark Vs. And while we're here, we might as well. This, like, very obviously doesn't need this, but while I'm here, it's pretty quick to do. Alright, so now we have that. We're going to head over to the copper, get the same thing set up, and then... Okay, the copper is apparently a bit weird. It seems to be unbalanced, that the center gets used a lot more. So let's make sure to just fix that problem real quick. So left overflow. And this is going to be priority center, but still should help resolve that problem. Alright, aside from that, we have to get the wall in. So that goes up to there. And we get our foundation. And our drone port. Which is going to be lined up like that. And then we need a little bit more space. That goes in like that. Connect the belts all up. Then that belt goes down and connects into the train station so that we can get copper up here. And now we just need to power it on and label it as copper source. So we can upgrade that to be extra fast. And alright, so that is now filling up with copper. So the last thing we need to do is we need to go over here where our fuel is. Instead of that just going directly across, pop a splitter on there, have some of it go that way, and actually this probably needs to be fueled. Some of it go that way, some of it go in there, and then this line goes all the way over here. So we need to bring this along, and it's going to need to go over that, and then down, and then in, and then I guess it's going to need to sneak around that power pole, which I placed there for some reason. And we just keep going. Alright. Having to build this over a whole bunch of the space, but eventually, if we get more drone ports into these locations, it'll be less inconvenient to attach it up to all of them. Although we might have to move this belt around a bit to get that to fit. But hopefully not too much. We're just going to have to send it up over that belt. And I guess have that as a splitter as well. And in you go. Alright, so that is our copper and caterium drone ports set up. Now we just need to go... Where were we? Were we over this way? Yes, we were over to the west, alongside like half of everything else. Which, I guess, now that I say that out loud, that makes sense. If you're directly in the center, about half the map would be to the west. That is how being in the center works. So we're going to head on over there. And, gosh, this is, I mean, you know, every so often you just realize, like, dang, this is a crazy massive thing that I've built here. And I mean, it could be more space efficient, but not like that much more space efficient. It's like we might be able to get these down to like half the size, but even then, you know, that even with that, there's still a ton. There's still a ton here, which is pretty cool. It's very satisfying to look at all this stuff that I've built. Alright, so we're just going to have to head on over. Maybe a little bit of slide jumping, a little bit of hover packing, a little bit of getting hit by a train. I guess we can hop on this train, actually. It's heading in approximately the right direction. Alright. So we are going to get to here and then leave. Alright. So all the rest of the trains are back with their stuff. The nitrogen train is just going to have to leave. Turbo motor nitrogen. And you go from there to there, and then while you're here, you do that, and we save. And did I? Yeah, I did rename you. Alright. So, now, next stop is getting in our... Let's put some floor there. That looks a little bit weird. So next stop is getting the drone ports for the copper and caterium, which I guess will be... I guess they can be just over here. Although, are we going to run into this factory if we do that? No. We've got plenty of space over here. Although not like an infinite amount of space. We are pretty close, actually. Alright, so we have that area set up. Now we can just pop in a drone port or two. 1 and 2. And that's still enough space for that to output. Alright, so these ones get drones. And this is going to be turbo motor copper. This one is going to be turbo motor caterium. And then they both get powered on. And this port goes to copper source. This port goes to deuterium source. And where's our rocket fuel? Alright, so we're going to need a little bit of that just to get this started. There you go, and there you go. Saying it's going to be 2.32 per trip. We make a whole lot of this stuff, so that's probably fine. So those are going to head out, grab some stuff, and then return. So, because they are drones, and drones don't have great buffers, we are going to want to do that manually, just to get some buffers in, like so. So now they'll be filling up these industrial storage containers instead of just this absolutely tiny zone in there. Okay, maximum transfer rate of 3.15 stacks per minute. Yeah, I mean, that should be fine, right? Because we're looking at, like, less than 1 stack per minute for both. Yeah, should be just fine. Alright, then we go over here, and these are... Okay, the aluminum might be bugged. That one doesn't seem to have output anything at all. Alright, so aluminum ingots are going to be first. And with all the stuff we're importing, it's actually relatively simple. So let's deal with the aluminum ingots portion first. So we merge them all up. And they get attached to these. Oh, did I not set these to unload? I didn't set the stations to unload. Alright. Cancel docking. Off you go. And we're going to have to do that for all of these. Because I forgot an important step. See, in Factorio, the trains just figure out whether to load or unload based on, you know, whether it's inputting or outputting. But in here, you have to set it manually. So there we go. These are all set to unload. Alright, this one, the train is not currently present for coal, which is a little bit worrying. Like, where is it gone? And then nitrogen. We're going to have to send you off as well. And set these all to unload. So they're going to complete a rather pointless loop and then return. Now, where is the turbo motor coal? I expect it should have gotten back by now. I don't see any flashing lights anywhere. I don't see any flashing lights anywhere, so I assume it's fine. Yeah, it's probably fine. Alright. Anyways. So the aluminum is just going to all get merged up. And it's already in ingot form, so we don't have to do any hard work to get this to... We just need to make this into containers. Alright, and our first delivery of copper and caterium has showed up. Incoming transfer rate 228 items per minute, 238 items per minute. And that should be plenty, because again, we need like less than 100 each. Alright, so aluminum just merges up, and can I get a wall in here? Up you go. And we just need... Actually, let's see. What's the sensible order of doing this in? No, we need to get water next. How much water do we need? So we're going to need water for the copper and the caterium and the iron. Alright, so pure caterium is as much water as ore, so not all that much. Pure copper is less water than ore, so also not that much. And pure iron is less water than ore, so not that much. And then that should be all we need water for here, so just grab, let's see here, 586.88 iron ingots is divided by 13 times 4. 586.88 divided by 13, if I can hit the right button, times 4 is going to be like 180 from that. So I think just a single pipe of water ought to do it. And that looks like we can get water from down there. Alright. So down we go with the wall. And we need to grab a power line as well. So yeah, we're going to do this like we did the last one, where we just deal with all of the fluid stuff first. So that is going to be the water for refining, and it's going to be the nitrogen for fluid tanks. And then we can just do solid stuff, and this should be a pretty straightforward factory. I mean, in comparison to the supercomputer, which was a whole giant process, this should be easy. We just need to do a couple of steps and not get the math wrong. And hopefully this is enough water. Alright, we're going to be able to fit at least one water extractor in, but only one there. Can we get something in here? No, alright, this might be an issue. I was kind of relying on these puddles being a lot bigger than they wound up being. Now, if we need less than a single pipe, we can overclock these. But even overclocked, that's still like half a pipe, which I don't think is enough. Alright, this, it looks a little bit wider over here. Yes, alright, we should be able to squeeze one in there. And then we bring this up and up there. Then we connect the two. Alright, I could scramble around looking for more space to squeeze in another couple of these, but I'm just gonna max overclock them. That seems a lot easier. And we're not short on power shards at the moment. So that is one full pipe of water, which should be, and it should be enough that we have spare, which is always good. That helps the pipes fill faster and prevents weird problems from flow rates not being high enough. So if they're too high to begin with, then even if it's only running at 80% pipe capacity, should still be enough. Alright, so we have water. Except that we don't have water, because water is a fluid. And we're going to need some pumps. And we could use the whole power pole shenanigans. We could use the whole water tower shenanigans to make us not need pumps, but it's just one line. And pumps aren't exactly... How much power does a pump take? 8 megawatts, and we have like 140,000 spare. I think we can manage. Alright, so now we just have to bring the pumps all the way up. That one goes there. And gets powered up. Then we go up a little bit more. And we power it. There we go. Probably this will probably be the last one, although we might need one more afterwards. Alright, so this does apparently bring us all the way to the top of this. And we even have actual water physically present. So that's a good sign. So, if we have that, then it should be okay. I guess we should run it up to here. And that is as high as it's going to need to go. And it's filling easily. Very cool. Alright, so that showed up now. Very cool. Alright. So we have our water. And we need to make some iron ingots, copper ingots, and caterium ingots. So that's what we're going to do first on this floor. And I believe this is the iron. Yes, it is. So we just need to get a line of mergers set up. This is going to be less than one belt, so we're free to do it this way without breaking things too much. Alright, so these all get attached up. It's a bit cramped because we're in between train stations, but just gotta leave enough space for this. There we go. And now we bring that foundation and pop in the floor hole. Alright, so then that goes there, and we go up. Alright. So, do I have a blueprint for this? I might have made a blueprint for this. I do, and it uses speed balancing. That's fine. So, we're going to need 6 of these blueprints. It's a tiny blueprint, isn't it? Alright. Yeah, so we're going to need 6 of those to get up to 586 iron. And I just need to figure out where exactly I want to put them. So we have the let's have them facing like this, just because that's a fairly natural way of aligning things. We don't have the speed balancing set up as part of the blueprint. We do have the input pipe though. Alright, and then as far as spacing, we can have that be there. Alright, so then we just connect those across like that. And how many did I say we would need? 6 of those blueprints. And then the last one would be significantly underclocked, of course. Alright, so we're gonna need this to go out a little bit. Like that. Alright, so we have 2 blueprints in. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, so that should be pretty easy. And did the outputs all connect up? They did. Although we're going to need to speed the belts up, but that's fine. So now we just have to put in this setup. So we get smart splitter, left any, center overflow, and we just bring this along into all of these. Alright, did that bring the settings? It did. Good. So now we just pop the belts across. And then the main belt down the middle. Like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Alright, so how much do we actually need? This is 55.714 times 2 is 111.428. That's the math I had earlier. So we multiply that by 5, and we get to 557.14. 586.88 minus that is 29.74. So you need to be 29.74 divided by 2, as do you, and I could easily fit that into one machine, but I'm not going to. Alright, that should be that. Now we just have to grab our water pipe, snake it across there, which I easily could have made that neater, but I didn't. Then our iron just belts straight into that. And now we just have to power all these up, connect them to a power source, and then deal with the outputs. Alright, so that is going to have to be upgraded so that it can connect down to something, like so. And now these can all fill up with water and iron. And I'm sure that I did this correctly. Yes, those are 55.7. So we just need to upgrade the main line, which is going to suck because it's auto-connected, so there are like a billion little pieces. But we just have to do a bunch of clicking, and then we have that. Alright, and now we get our sink, which we can put up here. Awesome sink. And connect it in. Alright, now we get a throughput monitor. Actually, first, I want this to go through a smart splitter, obviously. And I just want that to be pre-set up. Center any, right... No, center overflow, right any, left any. So that is that. And we can pop a throughput monitor on that, and it should be 580, 590, somewhere around there. It'll be a bit high to begin with because we turned them on a little bit before we got the outputs connected up. But even then, it shouldn't be that much. Unless I have been very bad at math, which I don't think I have been. This should calm down pretty soon. Alright, so that is going along nicely. This is going along nicely. And yeah, it's starting to drop down to its natural speed. Although it's going to be a bit fluctuaty for a bit regardless. But we'll get there. Yeah, now it's crashing like crazy. Alright. So, iron processing, check. Next up, copper and deuterium processing. So, we're going to need a bit more space for those. And I'm not 100% confident just building here is a good idea. We might wind up with space issues for these outputs for the aluminum and the coal. It's probably fine though. So the copper and deuterium processing can just be over here. We want to leave, if at all possible, open space directly above those drone ports so that the drones don't have to clip for them. It's not like a huge crisis if we don't though, because they can just clip through anything. Alright, so copper ingots. Do I have a blueprint? Actually, this makes 150. Surely we can just like do like 2 refineries. Pure copper, pure copper. Okay, no, these are actually pretty slow. How did I get this? Okay, yeah, that's a pretty big blueprint. Well, I'm just going to use that one and see how it works. Actually, go to default build mode. Unlock you, rotate a little bit so that you're facing this way. And in you go. Now, is there any free space here? No, these are all capped out. Which means in order to get up to 160, we're just going to need one more refinery. Which can just go there. And get that. And that. This is going to be set to 10 a minute. Alright, our water can just like pop across from there, I guess. And our copper, which one's copper? This one is. Good, that's convenient. So we need a floor hole somewhere. We want it to be, I guess, somewhere like that, which is in a convenient spot for both the above floor and the below floor. So that goes there. This comes down to... It's hard to Hard to tell without a floor for it to rest on top of, so we're going to put that in. There we go. And that is copper. Alright, now we connect the power line. And we are good to go. So it's going to fill up with water, and then the copper is going to trickle through. It's got a bit of a journey because it's on hilariously slow belts. And then these look like they're heading this way. So we can pop a sink in. And just put it there. Get our smart splitter in. And place some of the tiniest belts ever. And power the sink up. Oh, and also power that machine up. That's important too. Alright. So that should be all good. And we can stick a throughput monitor right there. Alright, so we have iron, we have copper. Next up is deuterium. And we need to be careful not to run into this. Alright, we should be able to fit. We should be able to fit in here, right? It'll be fine. We'll need like a couple machines. Let's see here. Pure deuterium is 12. So that's going to be 4 machines. And actually, I wonder if it's... No, this is probably the best way of doing that. And then we need these to be 10 each so that it's balanced properly. Alright, so then we have to get the pipe in. So the pipe goes across here. And it's going to have to go really sharp down in order to fit. But it is capable. Alright, pipelines go down. And then we just have to connect that up to the water, which we can sneak over there and make that connection. Alright, and then finally we need the splitters for the solids, which will be there and there. And then they go across like that and like that and in to those two, and then we can drop this down immediately into a floor hole, which probably connected up there. Alright, so now we just need foundations in this space here so that we can see where this lines up. There we go. That should be deuterium. And then we just have to power it up. Boom, 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 boom. And find a free power pole. There we go. Alright, so these are now filling up with water, and the Caterium is making its way through. So we head over here, and we merge all this stuff up. And it's literally 40 ingots somehow. I feel like this math is going to be wrong, and I'm going to end up having to multiply everything by 10. But hopefully not. Alright, so then that does fit in there. And we all get powered up. There we go. Oh wait, we should have our conventional smart splitter, which just goes like that. Center overflow, right and left, any. Alright, so that is that. So that's ore processing done. And it's going to be a bit of a nuisance getting the stuff out of here because it's all a bit cramped, but it should be fine because we're just going to be conveyor lifting it up a floor. Alright, so the next step. The next step we are going to go over this way for, I think. And that is the nitrogen packaging. So we need some space, and let's just make a nice sizable square over here. So first we need to turn those aluminum ingots into empty fluid canisters, which should just be a bunch of constructors. Constructor, empty fluid tank. Yes, and that is 60, so it's going to be speed balanced. So 120, 180, 225. So this would have to be set to 45, I think. 180 plus 45, probably. 180 plus 45 is 225. Yep. Alright, so then we just get our conveyor splitters in. The classic manifold, it's so great when it just works. It doesn't normally load balance, which is why I don't normally use them. But when the output belts are exactly 60 a minute, it just works. Alright, so then this is 225, so we only need Mark III belts. And then we need you to get up to there somehow, which I guess you can run along the roof. Like that. And then we get our power line, which can attach up and then connect to something else. Alright, so now we have these. Hang on, actually, what's the packaging ratio for this? Packaged nitrogen gas is 60 fluid tanks to 240 gas. So we can actually just line the packagers up like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last one is set to 45. Then the rest of them are just normal. And we can have this very satisfying setup, which should work perfectly. Alright, we do want additional power poles so that we don't have anything break. Alright, now we just have to bring up our 2 pipes of nitrogen, which is unfortunately this one all the way over here. Alright, so we want to get 2 pipes out. And the way we're going to do that is with a short pipe and a tall pipe. So these go across like that. And this is going to go into all the bottom outputs. And then we're going to have another pipe that goes across all the top outputs. And then we will have our setup. Alright, so then that goes up as tall as possible. And we drag it across. There we go. It does work. So let's just get all these in. And it does have to go down a little bit because whoever designed this is a maniac. The second level of pipes on the outputs is slightly higher than the maximum height of a pipe. Alright, so that is that. Now we just have to bring this up. So let's get a wall up to here. Please. Alright, it's probably that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the correct height. And we can just drag it along here to check that we're not like one short or anything, and we are correct. Alright, so now we just take these 2 pipes and we just bring them up here and up here and then around and forwards. So this can go along like that. This can follow up with it. So forwards we go. Alright, then we turn. So what we need is, well, first of all, we're going to need that water to go up through a floor hole, I think. Then we can actually just leave it like that. That's fine. It's not gonna break anything, at least. So then these pipes go along, and now they just have to meet up with these pipes, which I just realized I haven't actually built. So we have this. It needs to go along straight, so it's like midway between the 2 spots, like that. And this is slightly too tall, but that's fine. Alright, so those all go in. Now we just have to make sure we connect this up correctly, so that goes there. This one is going to have to go around a bit and then in that way. And then these can just merge up And then we output them and sync them. Alright, so back across. Alright, smart splitter. And awesome sync. Does it fit in here? No, it should fit in here though. We can put it like that. Move the splitter a little bit. So this is going to be left overflow, center any, right any. And there we go. Find a power pole. And we have packaged nitrogen gas going. So let's look back at our recipe. So that is that done already. And it's also, I believe, all the fluids done. So we have motors left, we have pressure conversion cubes left, and we have stators left. Alright. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be pretty easy, all things told. So, what do we do next? I guess our next step would be making steel. So we can do steel on this layer. It's using coal, which is, I believe, the last of the inputs that I haven't used. Although I don't know how much space we're going to need for it. We might wind up needing enough space that it's going to be worthwhile just doing it on a different floor. But we shall see. Alright, so we drop down here. This is the coal. And we just grab a line of mergers. As usual, if it's less than a single full belt, we can just do this without breaking anything. As soon as it gets more than a single full belt, though, we have to start worrying about it. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Just go straight. There we go. Alright. So now we need it to get up to like there for convenience's sake, which means it's going to have to be a little bit funky. Actually, I have a better idea. We can pull it off of this and yeah, so that merger, I'm going to have to take it out and put it in facing that way. Then that goes up to there, gets a floor hole, and connects like that, and like that, and like that. Alright, so now we have our coal. We've got our iron over there. And where is... I know we have a blueprint for this. Solid steel ingots is 120 of the inputs. So we would need, what, 5 of these to get 600, which would be more than 586, and they're pretty big. But not that big. Yeah, this should work. This should be fine. Let's just squeeze that in a little bit. And just pop it there, I guess. We could have shifted it further to the right, but I want some space in here if we need to move some things around. Okay, it looks like the input belts come from the left, so the iron is fine, the coal is going to have to wrap around awkwardly. Ultimately fine, though. Solid steel ingots. Go blueprint auto-connect mode. So that is 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to have to fill in all of the floor for this, which is going to be a lot of space that we need to do. There we go. And, alright, it doesn't quite intersect with the sink. It gets very, very close. We're going to have to move the sink, I think. Actually, no. We should just be able to bring the output belt around it. Alright. Now, the actual problem, which I just realized, is that this is more than one belt of steel. This is 880 steel ingots. It's fine. We can output up to the next floor. That's always a get-out-of-jail-free card that we have. Alright, so let's power these up. Like so. And then connect it forwards to somewhere. You've got free space. There we go. Now we just have to get the iron in and then do a bit more work to get the coal in, which is going to be more annoying because it's going to have to go all the way around. Alright, so you go into there. Nice and easy. Alright, may as well grab it from this side. So we dismantle you and go to default mode. Alright, so you need to go around like that, and then like that. Alright, so the belt goes forwards. And boom. Done. So that is coal into the system. And it's gonna be a little bit before it properly trickles through and gets everything started. Let's see, these belts go this way. And we also didn't quite get the center of this all foundationed in. So let's get a little bit of that. And a little bit more. There we go. That should be that all filled up. Okay, so we need... First of all, we need a sink that just, like, gets the majority of it. So that can go like that. You go like that. This output belt is only Mark 4, because I did not have the technology at the time. So we're going to have to run along and upgrade the whole thing. Which shouldn't be that bad. It's going to fill up my inventory with encased industrial beams, though, which is a bit annoying. Alright, so if this is going to be 880.3125 steel ingots, then this has to go right overflow, and the power line has to connect up. So that is going to be all but 100 of it output. So then we have to go back here where these are 180 each. Alright, so we're going to disconnect you and honestly just send you up the tiniest bit. So you can go along like that at, I believe that's what, 2 ticks above ground level. And it's very difficult to place it anywhere without snapping into something. But here it is. And I guess we're going to have to sink it over here. Just for spacing reasons. There we go. And power it in, place an additional pole. Alright. So, iron ingots have stopped making it this far. Oh, the input belt is Mark IV in here. So that needs to be Mark V. And actually I think that's the only bit that needs to be Mark V. Because theoretically, this is 586 here. Minus 120 would be 466. Which is within Mark IV range. So yeah, just that one upgrade should get the job done. And we also need to get around to going back here and decreasing this. So what I currently have here is 600 inputs. So it's 180 each. 180 times 5 is 900. And I need 880.3125. So if we go minus 880.3125, not divided by, point. Then we get 19.6875. And if we parentheses that and divided by 3, we get 6.5625, which is how much we have to subtract from each of these. 6.5625 in order to get a proper setup. So that is in. These are now set to 89% clock speed. And we should be alright now. Alright, so that is steel. So we have copper, we have deuterium, we have steel, and we have this. So the next thing is to just make the rest of the stuff. Very descriptive, I know. Just gotta make the stuff. Alright, the inputs for copper and deuterium are more than enough. They are saturated and not going anywhere. Let's see, this is going just fine so far, at least. So we'll have to see if the aluminum production is good enough. It would be a shame if we didn't have the 225 spare aluminum ingots that we need to make this work. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that it's fine. But I think this is a pretty good stopping point. So we have all of our ingots ready. So we need to make rods and screws out of the steel, and rods, screws, and pipes out of the steel. We need to make cables out of the... We need to make wire, and then I think cables, right? Or maybe just wire. Where are my notes for that? I feel like these notes are not complete, but yeah, no, we're definitely missing some stuff. But we'll figure that out later. For now, thanks for hanging out. I had a lot of fun. And I won't be streaming tomorrow or Friday. I will be back on Monday with Satisfactory. So I'm going to be out of town for a little bit. But as soon as I'm back and able to stream again, we'll be right back at it. So make sure to stop by for that. We will possibly, I mean, it's very optimistic to say we'll be finishing this factory on Monday. More realistically, we'll be finishing it on Wednesday, and then there's also the very real chance that things are harder than I expect and we have to take another day or two. But, I mean, this shouldn't be the most complicated factory, so we should be able to get through it pretty quick and then move on to the next stuff. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. I will see you guys next time. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. And that's about